All right, I think I might get started with building custom-made open-ended questions that are compatible with AI feedback. So let me get started. I'm in my demo school here, just to protect student data. The first thing you're going to do is go to the library. The library is where you keep and make all your personal content. And one thing I need to point out is to be sure that you create the content in the appropriate folder. Because if you create it in the incorrect folder, it's almost impossible to get it over to the correct folder, just because that this subscriptions in EP are based on subjects. So that's why it's kind of partitioned that way. So once I'm in my correct folder, for this example, I'm using Spanish because that's my language other than English. And I'm going to My Content. This is where you will, you may have already built your own custom lessons and quizzes. For this, we're going to be demonstrating how to create an open-ended question that's compatible with AI. So let's create a lesson, smart lesson, and immediately we get the template of information slides, a knowledge check quiz section, and the extended response sections. For this, the purposes of this demonstration, we're just going to go with the extended response. And so that we can see all the components one after the other, I'm going to go with a blank slide here. So the first thing that we're going to need in this question is some text. So I'm going to drag the text over here. Now this example question is actually going to be a comprehension question where the student needs to read a paragraph. So let me just paste this in here. So the question asks the student to read the text below and answer the associated questions in Spanish. I might actually put that part in another text box just so it looks a bit better. So here we are. Read the text below and answer the associated questions in Spanish. El asado argentino no es solo una comida, es una tradición muy importante en la cultura del país. Pretty much just, I mean, the Spanish teachers out there will know exactly what we're talking about, but it's just a paragraph about the cultural importance of Argentine barbecue. And the question for the students, what did you learn about Argentine asado from this text? Do you have a similar tradition in your own culture or family? Explain your answer in Spanish. Okay, so we obviously need the question, and we need a space for the students to write their extended response answer. So we go over to the panel here on the left side and drag in the long answer. As soon as I do so, it's going to prompt me to give a model answer. Now, the training the AI model to critique answers to this question, it looks at two different things. One of them is the model answer. So we need to create a model answer. This does take a little bit of time, but I imagine if you have got some content or some questions that you really like using, that you might have a couple of these ready to go. If not, just come up with the ideal answer and paste it in there. So I've got my ideal answer where I talk about what I learned about Argentine asado and the kind of equivalent that we have in Australia, Australian barbecue. And I suggest also adding in an answer expectation. In this case, it's at least 3 sentences, and there will be a prompt for the students if they don't have enough. Okay, so the first thing that the AI is going to look at is the model answer. It's obviously going to look at the question also, but the second thing that the AI model is going to look at is the explanation. And the explanation is more or less the same kind of explanation that you'd give to students to scaffold their answer. And go to as much detail as you can. For this one, I'm going to put, so we need to, in the explanation field, we need to drag a text field. And here's my explanation. The explanation is in English, of course. For this question, you need to demonstrate 2 things: your knowledge of Argentine asado that you gain from reading the text, and your ability to share some of the traditions and you can put it in dot point just to give it guidelines of what it should be looking for. Now, keep in mind here, I guess, the importance of semantics. Using words like should will be different to using words like must, could, and things like that. So I put should here. If I change it to must, it would probably be a little bit more strict in terms of what it is looking for in the answer. But this should give us a pretty good structure from which to work on. So just to recap, I've got my question. It doesn't have to be a comprehension reading a text activity. It can just be any open-ended question. I've got my area for students to write their answer. And within that, I've got my model answer and an answer expectation. Okay. Now I might just label this Asado, and I might just label the lesson Argentine Asado. Save that. Now I can view the lesson as a student, if it will let me. And when I go to the preview, I can already see that it's, because I've put all those details that train the AI model in there, you can see it's already compatible with AI-powered feedback with those little sparkly AI icons. If you're a student, let's test out my AI-compatible open-ended question. And this is something that I suggest that you do, because you might find that you might need to tweak things in the explanation or tweak things in the model answer, just to make sure that the model is working the way that you'd hoped. All right, let's give this an example answer. Let's start off with a fairly pedestrian answer. Here we go. My pedestrian answer is: aprendí que el asado argentino es una tradición muy importante por las familias. Usan tipos diferentes de carne. That's I reckon probably about 2 stars. Maybe it'd be nice and give me 3 stars. We'll see. You can always adjust how hard the AI goes as well. So it should give me a couple of things that I've done well. Excellent. A couple of things that I need to work on to improve. And it gives me the feedback in the context of my own answer. So I've understood Asado's importance. Excellent. I've mentioned different meads, made cultural comparison. All right, it's given me quite a few things. Now, I'm actually surprised that it's given me so many here. Usually the AI picks and chooses its battles, possibly because I put so many dot points in the explanation, but usually it would kind of give me 3 or 4, and then when I improve the answer next time, it'll give me some more to work on. But it's given me a lot to work with here, so I should be more specific. I should explain the cooking method, add Australian food details. Good effort, but give it another go. So because my answer was not good enough for that 3-star rating, it's going to ask me to do it again. And this is the feedback loop iterations that I was talking about in the PD session that I didn't get to show you properly because we had that technical problem with my laptop went to sleep. But the student can see their feedback within the context of their question. Let's give it another go. Improve my answer. This should be a bit better. I've gone into, I think I actually talk about different types of meat. Just different types of meat. Let's check. It might be enough for 3 stars. All right, things I've done well. A couple of things that I could do differently. Use para no por. Fix the verb agreement. All right, 3 stars. Good. That's because I reached that 3 stars, it's going to let me pass. So I can say got it. but it's also going to give you the model answer. Speaking of which, you can't copy and paste that model answer. I mean, I know students can always figure out a way, take a screenshot and copy and paste it that way, but it's just kind of making it making it harder than just answering the question. So yeah, if I'd got 4 stars, it would have given me the little confetti and allowed me to go on to the next one as well. So you can see that because of that iterative process of the AI feedback, if I started off at 1 star and I took on the feedback and improved a little bit, go to 2 stars, and then again to 3 stars, you can really see that student growth. And this is something that you can see in the AI reporting that allows students to actually challenge themselves, or forces students to challenge themselves and actually give their best for an open-ended question rather than just kind of typing whatever, knowing that it won't be marked or knowing that it will meet the minimum sentence requirements. So please, I'd love to see you create your own open-ended questions, and that way you can really focus it to your teaching style and teaching practice.